you live love and you sing beauty.
Oh, thank you.
What is your idea of the world that is a part, the biggest part of your music?
Oh, wow. Whew. Heavy question. Ay, ay, ay. I don't know. You know, I'm kind of on a crusade now about this music, particularly about this style of music. I've been very blessed with the ability, I think mostly because of my dad. My father was a jazz musician. He was a trombonist. He played with Father Hines. He played with Lucky Millinder, Fletch Anderson. He played in Quincy's band. And when we did a show called Free and Easy. And I spent, because my parents decided to work what they call split shifts to keep a roof over our heads, because my parents were very poor and struggling. So they started out living in Harlem, and after they had me, they decided that it would not be wise to try to be poor in a city. So they moved way out to the countryside, 52 miles out of New York City, and said if we're going to be poor, we at least want to be able to plant a garden and get some food from the backyard and find some employment and do what we have to do. And they did not ever want me to have a babysitter. They wanted to be hands-on parents with me. So my mother would work during the day and my father would work at night, which meant I spent my days with my dad, which most children don't have the opportunity to do because their fathers are usually working during the day. And because I spent my days with my dad, I learned about music, because that was his whole life. He ended up being a psychotherapist, but he started out, yeah, both my parents ended up being psychotherapists, because that's the only place they could get work was at the local mental institution. And working there, they had a program there that if you wanted to elevate your position at that institution, they would send you to school for free to get a degree. So they both did that. But when I was a little girl, they didn't have that level of education yet, and so my mom was working cleaning houses. They started a little business where they would clean people's houses, and so my mom would do that during the day, and then my dad would go work at night. And all day long, I'm sitting with my dad, listening to him practice his trombone and play music. My dad played music from the time he woke up in the morning till the time he went to bed at night, and he played everything. It was nothing to wake up to Stravinsky's Firebird and go to sleep with Patsy Cline or Duke Ellington or Tito Puente, or just the full range of whatever music was always going on around me. So music became, I guess I was brainwashed with it. It just kind of became the thing that you have around you that stimulates whatever it is you're feeling, or brings a new emotion and a new feeling to your life. You know, if you start listening to happy music, if you're really sad, it can lift, it can elevate your spirits. If you're listening to sad music and you're really sad, it can make you even sadder. Sometimes you like to just really get sad, you know? Sometimes you want to have a day when you just want to cry, and it's dark outside and it's rainy and all the pain that's inside of you is coming out, and you just want to stoke the fire, you know. It's like, let me hear some more sad music, and it'll do that to you. It'll take you there.
Yeah, and then start rebuilding yourself.
Exactly, exactly. And because of the way I grew up, that rebuilding would happen again through music. So it's always kind of been my safe place. It's the place that I go to be affirmed, and I guess that's why I keep enjoying every time I walk out on the stage and get to do it for an audience. It's a marvelous gift.
Dedication and love all the time.
Totally.
Sharing.
Totally. Yes. Exactly.
And we have such a tremendous legacy, because what we are today, we are this because of what had been before us.
Exactly.
And this is so much part of your musical character. How do you feel about the legacy that you are building on?
Oh, the older I get, excuse me, the older I get, the more important I feel it is to pass this on to the next generation. Not that they should do it note for note the way it was done before. More that they should take it and remold it and reshape it for now. But it's the fact that it's so elastic and malleable in the first place, that you can do that with it, to me, is the gift of this particular genre of music. Jazz is so flexible, and it was designed to be flexible in the first place. It came out of music being very structured, and black musicians saying, nah, no, this needs some sauce. This needs some Tabasco, you know. And so it became much more interesting and much more pliable, and the rhythms changed and the lyrics changed, and all of that, to me, is what makes this particular genre so important to maintain in its original form, so that people can say, got that, now it's mine, I take it away. And that's what every jazz musician did with this music. You know, Dizzy would come up with one thing, Charlie Parker would come up with another way to do that. You know, each musician puts their stamp on it, and it's all right. None of it's the wrong thing to do. It's not, oh, you can't do that. No, you can do any ever-living thing you want to do with this music. That's why it's there. It's there to grow. It's there to blossom. It's there to have a different blossom every season. And to me, it became stagnant for a while, particularly in America, which is where it came from. and that started to scare me. And that's when I kind of got on my little crusade to, oh, wait a minute, we can't lose this. We don't want to lose this, because it's still, to this day, you hear, you know, you turn on a Count Basie record. I have this story that I love, I constantly retell, I'll probably be 100 saying, and then I went to the Grammys this year, you know, with my old lady voice. But every year at the Grammys, after the Grammys, they have a big party. And for many years, they had the party, I think it was at the Biltmore in Los Angeles. And the Biltmore, as most hotels do, has a floor where all of the ballrooms are. They have the main ballroom at the end of the hall, and then they have the smaller ballrooms on each side. It's a very, very wide hall, like a gallery. And this one particular year, they had, I think it was 6 small halls, and each one of them was a different kind of music. It was country western in one ballroom, there was classical in another ballroom, there was rock and roll in another ballroom, there was heavy metal, every style imaginable. At the end of the hall in the main ballroom was Count Basie's band. By the end of the night, all of the other ballrooms were empty, and everybody was at the end of the hall listening to Basie. These guys from Kiss, they're standing, and it looked like the very infamous scene in Star Wars when the guy walks into the bar and you got all these creatures with outfits and things with tentacles. Well, there were all kinds of people in that room. Country western singers, rock and roll singers, every kind of musician imaginable. All of them head bobbing to Count Basie. So what more do you need to say? How powerful is that? That was the music that night that drew everybody, no matter what style they thought they loved the most. They were all there getting it. That's how infectious this music is. That's how powerful it is. And I always say that one of the reasons, aside from the fact that it came from the Black American experience, but one of the reasons it's so infectious is because of what it came from, what was going on in the world at the time this music was created. You're talking about the Depression in America, you're talking a worldwide depression actually, you're talking about Second World War. You know, these are powerful things to be living around, to have swirling around you all the time. And then to have the ability to create something artistic out of all of that pain and anguish and madness is profound. So the music is profound. You know, I think that what's been happening in the world, I think everybody went to sleep. It kind of reminds me of a fairy tale, you know, a classic fairy tale. There's always this, you know, somebody goes to sleep. Some wicked person comes in and puts everybody to sleep. And then the prince comes and kisses you and you wake up. And I think we've been asleep for about 10 years all around the world. It's just kind of, we all said, whatever it is, we're going to put up with it. And let's just party. Let's just have some fun. Let's get high. Let's listen to some stupid music. Let's go see stupid movies. Let's look at stupid art. Let's do a stupid dance. And now I think that's over. I think people are waking up and they need something meatier in their lives. And this music has already got the meat on the bones because of where it came from. So that's why I'm going crazy trying to push it out there, because I'm hoping that by doing that and by reaching another demographic, reaching an international audience, but this audience, by the way, already has that, already gets that. I'm kind of more fighting the fight in where it came from in America than I am here, because there's the kind of nonchalance about, yeah, we created jazz, right, great, let's move on. No, you don't move on. You get that, and then you move on. And then you have that as your foundation. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do there. Here I'm just trying to keep it stoked because it's, you know, everywhere I go in Europe, in Asia, Africa, everybody's on it. Australia, they're going crazy with this music now. New Zealand, I did a concert in Australia a couple of years ago. 40,000 people out on a lawn, and I start singing a Tisket a Tasket, and people go to this festival. It's a music festival, very eclectic festival, all kinds of music all day long. Everything from Earth, Wind and Fire to country western, you know, everything. Full range of music. And I sing a Tisket a Tasket, and every kid on that lawn was up on their feet, dancing around like a lunatic. It's like, "Rah!" So they get it. They get it. And I'm just trying to make sure it doesn't go away in the States because we are so obsessed with everything all the time that you can't focus. It's kind of everything coming at you like, you know, crazy in your face and your ears, and it's like, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, and you're trying to look and you're not focusing. So I'm just trying to get people for 2 seconds to focus on this music so that it doesn't go away. And also trying to teach other singers how to come from that place that this music comes from when you're singing, because it's a different mentality. Most of the songs that Ella did came from theater, from Broadway shows, and from movie musicals. And so these songs have lyrics that have very deep meaning because they're always telling a story that comes from the show that they come from. So if you're doing the street on the street where you live for My Fair Lady, that lyric is very profound because it's a part of the storyline of My Fair Lady. So now you're going to pull it out of the show, you're going to put a jazz influence into it, and then you're going to have to still tell that story, no matter what the accompaniment is. You're not doing it the way it was done on Broadway. You're putting another thing into it. So you have to be able to maintain the integrity of what that lyric is while you're adding that element of jazz to it. And that's the music that Ella defined. She defined that genre of taking that music from a Broadway show and modernizing it for her time, musically, but still maintaining the integrity of what the story was saying, which is really, if you think about it, it's a really difficult thing to do. Of course, she did it in her sleep. It's just who she was. And then everybody followed. You know, Sinatra followed, Mel Torme followed, Rosemary Clooney followed, everybody followed. You know, Nat King Cole was another one that helped define how to sing that kind of music. So that's kind of my mission in the States. I do master classes a lot now at this point in my life, and I work with a lot of singers from Europe, from this part of Europe in particular, Japan. A lot of singers out there want to know how to do this stuff because they understand how powerful it can be for every kind of singing that you do. It's a great foundation to have.
Yeah, passing on is very important to you,
yes,
and especially with the Over My Shoulder Foundation.
Right.
So mentoring, finding your inspiration, inspiring people to continue to go forward,
right,
to find out, to enrich and to make better.
Exactly.
So what makes you really optimistic about the way we think and what we do in life? So we are not very much in love with our world.
Yeah.
But because we are not, this is why we're looking for a way to mend it.
Right. Right.
So what do you believe in? What makes you optimistic?
Well, I have my friend Andy here that I was recanting to him last night that I have another very dear friend who always says the only problem with the planet is the people. So if we get rid of all you guys, we'll be fine. I want to stay behind. No, I just think that we have a tendency, the things that I think we love the most, we have a tendency to take for granted. And I think that the arts in general, not just music, dance, theater, painting, sculpting, it's all a reflection of what's in our hearts. And I think it has a great cohesiveness to it and a great power to bring us together. You know, food, dance, music, that'll get everybody in the same room with the same. I don't care how much they hate each other. You know, you'll drop your gun and go, what kind of steak is that you're making over there? If it smells good enough, you know. So we got to make it smell good enough for everybody to show up for the party. And I think it can mend things, and I think that it can rebuild things, and I think that it can touch people's hearts like nothing else. There's a wonderful series that they just started back in the States about music and its influence on, not just on culture, but on history. How much of it is a reflection of what's happening and how much of it is a projection of what can happen. And I think we need to be using music at this point to project what we can become, what we should become, and how we need to be with each other.
And you inspire us for that on the concert.
I hope so. I plan on changing the world tomorrow. I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm going to change the world.
It might be a little bit of pushing, but...
A little? They'll be pushing? What is that?
I believe so. But it will create great energies.
I sure hope so. I sure hope so. Hopefully a lasting energy.
Yeah, we're running out of time.
Yes.
So, 2 questions, 2 short answers.
You got it.
The show tomorrow.
Yes.
Kind of what will it have?
It's a tribute to Ella Fitzgerald. It's kind of a touchstone here and there of moments in her musical life. And I'll be telling some Ella stories to the audience. I like to talk to the audience between songs so that we can create a relationship. So hopefully by the time I leave, they'll know a lot more about Ella than they knew when they got there, and they'll be feeling that music, and they'll go out and do great things.
I will do my best too, because I'll be supporting you.
Yes, thank you for that. Thank you for that.
And finally, what makes for a great song? You have so many great songs. So, what is it that it stays forever?
That it stays forever. I was going to say I can only speak to how that functions for me, but I think the stuff that stays forever is the stuff that is the truest and the most heartfelt. The music that is made by people who really, really love making that music, and they're not making it for commercial success. They're not making it because they think you might like it. They're making it because they know they love it. That's it.
Thank you.
Sure.